Por favor, alguien que lo ayude, por favor, se quedó ahí. Manden el video.
Breaking news from Mexico. In the northern region of Veracruz, a severe emergency has unfolded after the Casones River overflowed, submerging entire neighborhoods and rural zones across Poza Rica, Álamo, Pantepec, and Tuxpan. Thousands of families have been forced to flee as continuous rainfall pushed river levels beyond record limits, unleashing one of the worst floods the state has seen in recent years.
¡Ya está bajando el agua!
The city of Poza Rica has suffered extensive damage. Streets are now brownwater canals where cars float beside submerged homes. In some neighborhoods, water levels have reached up to 4 meters, completely covering vehicles and storefronts. The current has swept away everything in its path: cars, fences, and street posts, leaving a chaotic scene across the city. The bus terminal in Poza Rica was entirely flooded, forcing an immediate shutdown of operations and evacuation of passengers. Districts like 27 de Septiembre, Morelos, Las Grañas, Lázaro Cárdenas, and La Floresta have reported major structural damage. Residents had little to no time to react as floodwaters entered their homes within minutes. The Casones River's overflow was the central cause of this disaster. More than 72 hours of nonstop rain saturated the ground, breaking levees and containment walls. The river's raging current uprooted trees, destroyed bridges, and poured into nearby colonies, spreading destruction into neighboring municipalities. In Álamo, more than 5,000 homes have been damaged, and several communities remain isolated as collapsed roads and bridges have cut off access. Local authorities have opened temporary shelters while heavy machinery clears blocked routes. But the worst was yet to come. In Pantepec, smaller rivers that feed into the Casones have flooded highways and farmland. Fields of corn and citrus crops have been wiped out, leaving rural families without income. Emergency shelters in schools and community centers now host evacuees as rescue teams assess the damage and deliver clean water and food. Further north, the port city of Tuxpan has been hit by torrential rains that flooded main avenues and residential zones near the boardwalk. The accumulation of water has forced the Federal Electricity Commission to cut power in several areas as a safety measure. Streets remain submerged, and authorities continue monitoring the river's behavior. In Poza Rica, the loss of electricity has severely hindered rescue and communication efforts. Only about 23% of service was restored within the first hours after the flooding began. Emergency crews are using boats and high-clearance vehicles to reach stranded residents. Sadly, one police officer lost his life while helping families trapped by the water. Weather forecasts show no relief. Meteorologists warn that heavy rains will persist in northern Veracruz, raising concerns about further flooding. The state's Civil Protection Agency declared a maximum alert, deploying rescue teams in coordination with the Mexican Army, Navy, and National Guard. These forces are leading evacuations, delivering food supplies, and securing high-risk zones. Community centers and local buildings, such as Poza Rica's Casa del Migrante and Casa de Cultura, have been converted into shelters. Dozens of families are staying there with limited resources while volunteers and NGOs provide food, water, and blankets. Gymnasiums and public halls have also been repurposed as temporary housing. The urban landscape now shows a city brought to a standstill. Videos from local media show cars almost completely underwater and muddy streets filled with debris. Business owners report total losses as the cleanup begins amid stagnant water and mud. Infrastructure across the region has taken a massive hit. Bridges, highways, and power lines have sustained serious damage. Rescue agencies have requested additional heavy equipment to reopen key roads and reach isolated communities.
¡Oh!
Educational authorities suspended classes in 39 municipalities as a precaution. Schools will only reopen once the area is deemed safe for students and staff. The damage to school buildings and public infrastructure has delayed all recovery plans.
Avenida La Floresta.
In rural Álamo, agricultural devastation is widespread. Fields that once produced corn and oranges are now swamps. Hundreds of families have lost their primary source of income. Local officials estimate recovery could take weeks, if not months. In Pantepec, rescuers continue to struggle to access isolated villages. With roads underwater, many residents depend on helicopters and boats to receive essential aid. Supplies are running low, and logistical challenges persist as rains continue intermittently. In coastal Tuxpan, authorities are closely monitoring rising tides and the strain on drainage systems. Small vessel navigation has been restricted, and riverside zones remain closed due to the persistent threat of overflowing water. Veracruz's governor confirmed that both the DN3 and Navy emergency response plans are active. These programs prioritize vulnerable populations such as children, the elderly, and families who lost their homes. Military and civil defense units are coordinating relief efforts on the ground. Shelters are operating at full capacity. Most evacuees arrived with only a few belongings, relying on local donations for survival. Volunteers continue distributing essential goods despite limited access and ongoing rainfall. The Casones River, which winds through several towns before emptying into the Gulf of Mexico, has completely reshaped the region. Its swollen current destroyed riverbanks, eroded farmland, and wiped out containment structures. Experts describe it as an unprecedented hydrological event for the area. Public health officials have warned of the risk of waterborne diseases due to contaminated floodwater. They urge residents to avoid contact with standing water and refrain from drinking untreated liquids to prevent outbreaks.
Agua! ¡Resiste!
Meteorological conditions remain unstable. The cloud system over the Gulf continues feeding moisture into the region, maintaining moderate to heavy rain in several municipalities. Authorities are keeping constant surveillance on the Casones River and its tributaries. In Poza Rica, material losses are staggering. Dozens of homes have collapsed, and hundreds more are no longer habitable. The city is paralyzed, streets remain flooded, transportation is halted, and communication networks are only partially functional. Many residents rely on battery radios and emergency broadcasts to receive updates. With phone networks overloaded and power still unstable, information flows slowly. Civil defense units urge the population to remain calm and await instructions from authorities. As of now, northern Veracruz remains under emergency status. Rescue and cleanup operations continue under difficult conditions as rainfall persists. The ground remains waterlogged, and experts warn that even moderate rain could trigger new floods. Mexico's federal and state agencies are maintaining a coordinated response, but full recovery is expected to take time. The Casones River flood stands as a stark reminder of how vulnerable this part of Mexico is to extreme weather events intensified by seasonal storms in the Gulf region.
rescatistas, no se ve gente que esté ayudando. Toda la central de autobuses se inundó allá los autobuses. ¿A dónde? Ya lo vi, hay un señor, Dios mío santo.